Well, Abby stole my thunder because first of all, I want to say thank you to you because it's been an honor to be in the show, and thank you to all of you for being here. So many faces that are just so sweet to me, so I appreciate it. And thank you to my husband, who's hiding back there, for building the frames. They're really nice frames. He would like it if I point that out. But honestly, he also made this show possible because these last few months have been a little bit crazy. So, yeah, so that brings me to the beginning. Abby asked me to do this show a couple years ago. I'm not really sure when, but it was way before I knew I was going to be starting a new business, kind of two businesses. So when I knew that started to happen, Abby was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, in a very kind way, but you know, like she gets it if I don't. And I honestly was like, no, I do. Because it's really helped me keep the artist part of me alive, which is a super important thing to me. And I'm grateful that she gave me that timeline and that deadline, you know, as it is. It helps because I probably wouldn't have painted the last couple of years just because there's other things to keep track of. So when I started the show in that momentum of, I'm so busy, I have the show, I think, I don't think Deb's here. Deb Comertor was like, just start painting. And I was like, yeah, that's what I have to do. And so I just started to paint a few things that stood out to me and felt like, okay, maybe this is the direction I should go. I went on a little mini like artist retreat by myself up to Green Mountain Falls and just did some sketching and thinking, but still not totally having a huge idea. But that piece that's way back there in the back was from a place that I stayed that just kind of stood out to me. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing still life. Like that was one idea. And I'm not normally a still life person. In fact, objects are not that important to me, I feel like. I'm not much of a collector. I tend to be the one that throws stuff away in our house. So it felt a little weird. Why am I doing these things? You know? And then if you know my past work, it's usually been either abstract work or florals or plants, things that really stood out to me as being beautiful. So like originally in my head, I was like, well, I'll probably do more flowers. That's what I do, you know? And it just did not happen that way. And so here we are. I mean, there's definitely plants and flowers. And I've always loved painting cloths, so that's part of those pieces. But as I started to collect images, so what I do is I take a picture and I paint the parts of it that I like, and then I kind of make up things around it. Maybe the whole, like this tablecloth piece did not really actually have that table underneath it. It was a totally different color, you know, just, you know, figuring stuff out, like what works well for this. And as I started to collect a few more pieces, I really felt like the theme home was where I was headed. And it was really about finding just like the simple beauty and little like moments that you see as you're in someone else's house or in my house. There's a lot from my house, but there's other pieces that friends shared, which is really cool too. And then I knew there was more. I was kind of drawn to, well, I'll go there in a second. So as I was thinking about the home is such a significant place for all of us because it's, first of all, it's just a human need, right? Like we don't all have homes, but everyone desires a place of shelter, a place to be, safety, refuge. So first that was like, well, that's what I want to portray. I want to like make these places that feel comfortable, that feel a little bit intimate. And then as I'm working, I'm realizing that these things that I'm painting are truly like identity also of people. The things that we put in our home, we choose to do that. And so in making that little, you know, you put a little thingy on a bookcase or whatever, you're choosing, this is me, I love this, and so that was like, oh, it's the identity that we create in our home. So a lot of it is that too. And then furthermore, I started to notice that these, not all of them, but some of them kind of like are memories of people or markers of things that a person left that blanket thrown on the chair, or this one I'm feeling a little nervous, so I'll be more emotional. But this piece here was my son after he went to college, and I walked into his room, and there's the blankets in the beautiful sunlight, you know, and it was so him. And it wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't like I wish he would have picked up the blankets. It honestly wasn't. It was like, oh, you know, that's him. And so I really love that idea too, and I could see myself doing more of pictures or paintings that are memories of people. Like I could envision like painting, my dad has this like cane that my grandpa walked around that is in North Carolina right now, but I'd love to do something with that, you know, like memories of people and things like that, markers of time. And then what else? Then also, like as I started to name them and think about them, I realized how many were like attached to my personal just memories too. Not meaning to, honestly, but I was like, oh. So example, the corn piece, I grew up in Ohio, and as a kid, we lived on an acre that was next to my grandpa's, like, I don't know how many acres he had, huge farm. And once a year, we would do these corn shucks where everyone would come from the family, help shuck the corn, and like, then we'd get to eat it. It was really fun. It's like a really good memory. But yeah, I think I'm like, oh, that's totally why I love corn. It's so weird. But stuff like that, you know. And then I took pictures of all the pieces, sent them to Abby, I think on time, probably, mostly. And I was sitting in the morning having like a quiet time, and it occurred to me that there's more to this, which sounds weird. Like I feel like this whole show is unfolded to me. And it's really about like the light and the darkness too, that like those moments of light that were like shining right there in that second are also like little like moments for me, at least, of hope and of joy and of honestly the divine, like just seeing absolutely like, oh, there's that moment that is special, even though it's blankets. And I honestly wasn't like seeking that out or aware of it when I did do it, but as I did, I was like, as I turned it in, and I think was able to step back from it and not feel so stressed out about getting it turned in. Honestly, I was able to kind of see that. Yeah, that's just kind of the story of the show. The abstracts really were like, at the end of a painting, I would kind of need to just not paint realistic. And I would see these lovely colors on my palette and be like, hey, you know, and so I would take those colors and try and kind of create the feeling that that first larger realistic painting had on a much more basic, I guess, or emotive level. So those really are just joy, or that moment of like, and I name them after memories too, but yeah, just like special things, you know, that occur to you or that are a good memory. So yeah, that's all, folks. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah.